Next up, you're going to skip the unique summary and go straight to unique list. And here we have the list of all the formulae, or the unique formulae that were in that workbook. So first of all, we've got just an identifier. So we can see, if we just flip down to the bottom, this has, funnily enough, exactly 1500 formulae. Then it tells us which worksheet and what the cell address is for that formula, what the formula is in A1 style and R1C1 style referencing, and what the label is. Now this is a label, it's a best guess based on some algorithms to tell us what the label is for that particular formula. Then we have information about what the cell style is, what the current value of that cell is. And then we have some cells which, these are blank in here, but they can be used if you want to use this as the basis for testing a workbook thoroughly down to the individual cell or unique formula cell reference. This is where you can make comments about anything that you think maybe needs attention. Perhaps there's an issue or an error, or you're not sure what it's trying to do, so you can make a comment here. And then whoever built the model can respond here. You can keep track of the status of that, whether it's okay or if it still needs to be addressed, and you can keep a note of the reviewer initials or name there as well. Now, this is what we would typically use if we were doing a model audit. It's the same idea. You can do these yourself using this tool. Obviously, if you don't have the time to do that, or you need a formal sign-off from an independent provider, then that's something that we are very happy to talk to you about. Please do get in touch. Then we'll carry on to the right. We have some more columns telling us more about these, what's going on in each of these unique formulae. So we have, if it is an unexpected unique, that will appear in this column. If it's a copy of another unique formula earlier in the row, then it will appear here. Then this tells us how many rows and how many cells this particular formula covers. So we'll see there is some pattern there. We've got a few that are 6, we've got a few that are 25s or 24s. So this looks like it's got that many columns in the timeline. Then we have the next 3 columns relate to hard coding. Hard coding is a term that we use to describe when there is a mixture of either numbers or text with cell references in a single formula. That's generally considered not to be best practice because there is a risk that you can overlook that hard coding, and it's essentially an assumption which is embedded within a cell. So this tells you what that hard coding is, so numbers in this column and text in this column. If we scroll down, we'll see that there's also some categorization going on here. There's category 1, which just is if there's a hard-coded 1 or 0. Category 2, whilst we don't appear to have any just here, is commonly found integer numbers, such as the numbers 1 to 10, and I believe 12, 24, 365, for example, which are the sort of numbers that may occur quite commonly in models to adjust for the number of months in a year, for example. Category 3 is where we got some other number. So in this case, we've got a 0.1, but any other number that's hard-coded in a formula would be classified as a type 3. And then we've got any hard-code text that appears in the formula would appear here. So we can see the terms address and so on are used in this formula and are showing up here in the hardcode text column. Next we have a column that tells us if this is an array formula. If you're not familiar with that, then don't worry about it too much. There's quite a lot to learn on array formulae. They're relatively uncommon in models, and it's a bit beyond the scope of what we're going to talk about here. Error type, if there's a error reported for that cell, will appear here. And finally, we've got the row and column number of the cell that this refers to. So the very first one here, cell E3, the address is E3, which is in row 3, column 5. If we were to do a review in this section, and we put in the status column, we categorize things as issues type 1, 2, 3 or query, which is the standard approach that we use, then those will be summarized here by sheet, so you get an idea of how many issues you've identified in a particular sheet. Finally, we got the external links tab, and the model that we reviewed didn't have any external links, but if it did, it would give you some information about that here. So that is it for this one. Next time we'll take a look at maps.